For starting of the song, place your index finger on the 7th fret of all the strings, and the ring finger on the 9th fret of the A string, and pinky finger on the 9th fret of the D string, and play that chord. And then play with your pick or fingers A string, and then G string, and then D string, B string, D string, and high E string. And in the end, play G and add the 9th fret on the G string here. So play both D and G string. So the whole part sounds like this. For the second chord, place your pinky finger on the 9th fret of the high E, index finger on the 7th fret of the B string, ring finger 9th fret G string, and middle finger 8th fret D string. So playing these two strings, and then G and B, and then moving the middle finger to the 9th fret of the A string, and moving the pinky on the 11th fret of the B string. Next chord is located here. Bar the 7th fret with your index finger up to the A. We don't use the low E. And then fret the 9th fret of the G string and 10th fret B string. And playing. For the fourth chord, place your pinky finger on the 11th fret of the A, ring finger on the 9th fret of the D string, and bar the 7th fret of all the top strings. Okay, now 9th fret D string, 7th fret G string, and 8th fret B string. And in the end, hammer on from 7 to 10 on the B, and also play the 10th fret of the high E. So. Next chord in line, place your index finger on the 7th fret and bar the top 4 strings. Then just use your pinky finger for the 10th fret of the B and the high E. And play first the 7th fret of the B, and then place those two notes there. A couple notes here on the bass strings as well. First the 9th fret on the A, and again playing the top two notes, and then 10th fret and 7th fret. So place your index finger on the 7th fret of the top 5 strings, middle finger on the 8th fret B string, and your ring finger on the 9th fret D string, and play like this. For the last chord, we have our index finger on the 7th fret B string, pinky finger on the 9th fret G string, middle finger 8th fret D string, and ring finger 9th fret A string. And in the end we will move the pinky from the A to the C sharp up there, the 9th fret high E. For the next part we have again the same chord as in video number 1. So slightly different picking. Same voicing as in the video number 2, only slightly different picking pattern. And again finishing on that 11th fret. Same voicing as in the video number 3, only slightly different picking pattern. Same stretched voicing as in the video number 4. Same voicing as in the video number 5. Same voicing as in the video number 6. Same voicing as in the video number 7. And same voicing as in the video number 8. For the second part of the verse, we play full chords, and these are the chords from videos number 1 and 2 combined. These are the voicings from videos 3 and 4 combined. These are the voicings from the videos 5 and 6 combined. And in the end we have two voicings from videos 7 and 8 combined just before the chorus. And in the end you have that build up before the chorus. First two voicings for the chorus are this one and this one. For the first one, I'm borrowing the 7th fret with my index finger. I'm holding the G with my middle finger here and doing B and G on the D and A strings. This is the first, and we have here a G-shaped chord, except it's on the 10th fret. So borrowing with the index finger and holding the G shape here. And then playing. Next two chords are located on the 7th fret as well, so we are fretting with our pinky finger 9th fret of the high E then 7th fret of the B, 9th fret of the G, and 8th fret of the D string. And next chord has, it's a minor chord here on the 7th fret. So the 5th and the 6th chord in the chorus are exactly the same as the 1st and the 2nd. So we have so you can reference that video. The last two chords in the chorus are the one on the 7th fret, the minor one. So borrowing with the index finger the 7th fret and then holding 8th fret B and 9th fret G and D. And next one is this one. So 9th fret high E, 7th fret B, 9th fret G, and 8th fret D. So these two combine. The second half of the second verse is being played exactly the same way in exactly the same chord progression as the second half of the first verse, but in a slightly different strumming pattern to follow the drums. So we are using for beginning of the solo, we have sliding into 11 on the G string and then playing so 10 and 12 on the B and then 1.5 step bend. So this is the first part, then we go 7 and 9 on the G, hammered on, and then 7 here on the B, 7 again on the G, and then 8th fret on the D. And the third part, so hammer on and pull off, and half step bend on the 7th fret of the D string. Second part has this little lick repeating. So we have hammer on from 7 to 9, and then 7 again, 9, 8 here. In the second part the same, but in the end just play 9, 7, 9, 7. So in this part, bend the full step on the 10th fret, play the pinky, release to the 7th, and half step bend on the 8th fret. So again, bend, pinky, release to the 7th, 10 again, and 8. So the whole part. For the third part we have so 7, on both strings, and then full step bend on high E, 10, and then pre-bend and release, and then 10 on the B, and 2 muted notes on the B string. In the second part we have full step bend on the 9th fret G, and then playing with the pinky 10th fret of the high E. This is a release to the 7th fret, and then 7th fret, you can snug that index finger on the 7th fret. For the last bit of the first solo we have so we're on the 7th and 9th fret of the G string. So I'm doing a half step bend here. And then full step bend on the G, and then 7, 10. In the second part, go on the 7, 7 instead of 7, 10. So and apply vibrato there. As for the second solo guitar, here's how the solo starts. So I'm just doing a bend here on the G string, and in the first part I will do so 7, 10 on the B string. In the second part I will do this, so in the third part I'll do just a couple of 7th frets here, and then in the fourth part only the 7th fret on the B string. So the whole part sounds like this. And in the end just slide out upwards. The second part of the solo goes from the 11th fret of the G string, bended by whole and half step. So, and then 9, 11 and 7, quarter step bend. In the second part we're just doing a whole step bend on the 10th fret, 7 on the high E, and then you can do a slide or just play 10, 12. So again, 10, 12 and 10 and 10, and going 12, 11, 10 and 9. Once again, whole part. In this part we're starting from the 14th fret G string, bended full step, going to 12 of the B, and then 12 high E, 15 B, and going between 17 and the 15th fret. Once again slowly. And in the second part we're doing this. Cool lick right there. Whole step bend on the 17th fret. And then 15, 16 and 17 on the high E. And then small bend on the high E. And then another bend on the B string. and ending on the 17th fret. So if you connect those two together, it sounds like this. For the last part of the second solo, we have a simple lick that involves 15 and 17th fret on the B string. And the 17th fret on the high E. It goes like this. So a repetitive lick, short pull off, and then twice the pinky, in the double guitar parts, we are using another 17th fret and 15th fret on the B string, and then full step bend on 12th fret. So, and then, so I'm bending the 12th fret here, and then from 11 to 7 on the G string. 9/8 on the D string, 11th fret on the B string. So slide 9/8, the second part goes from the 12th fret high E string and plays like this. So, bending the full step on the 12th and then repeating the bend while releasing. And then playing 12th fret and then sequence of 16 notes. 10th fret. And then on the G string 11, 9 and 7. And returning to the 10th fret of the B string. So once again. The descent on both guitars goes like this. This is the first guitar. So what I did here, basically used every second note from this pentatonic box and going like this. And then 7th fret of the G, 9th fret of the A, and 7th fret of the D string. So and then so and then so 7th fret of the G and then again 7 on the B, 10, 7 and so the whole part goes like this. The lead in into the last part of the solo goes like this. Seven and 9, and then 7 and 8, and then 11, 12 and 14. And so it sounds like this. The solo guitar in the last part of the solo sounds like this. Tenth fret high E string, 12th fret B string and 11th fret G string. And then 9, 11, 11. And full step bend on 12th fret. Next two chords go like this: 9, 10, 9. And then 7, 9, 9. Next two chords on the second guitar: 7, 8, 7. And then 5, 7, 7. And bending on the 8th fret. The last two chords are 3, 5, 4. And then 6, 7, 6. And then the whole part repeats. Just before the solo, two guitars are playing very simple licks, and here are the licks in parallel. So the first guitar plays this: ring finger on the 15th fret B string and play 14, 13 and 14. So, well, one guitar is playing, the other guitar is playing this. G string and 15, 14 B string. So these two in parallel. Next two, first guitar is playing 14 B string and 14, 13 high E. And the second guitar is playing 15 G string and 14, 13 B string. In the next pair of licks, the first guitar is playing 14 B string, 12, 11 on the high E. And then in the next part, 12 on the B and 12, 11 on the high E. So the whole part for the first guitar goes. As for the second guitar, we go 14th fret G string and 14, 13 B string. And then we go 13th fret G string and 12, 11 on the B string. So the second guitar in total sounds like this. The third part of these double licks, first guitar plays 12th fret B string and 10 and 9 on the high E. And in the second part, 10 on the B string and 10 and 9 on the high E. So, while the second guitar is playing 12 on the G string and 12, 11 on the B string. And in the second part, 11 on the G and 10 and 9 on the B string. So the second guitar plays this. The fourth part involves, on the first guitar we have 8 on the B string, 7 and 6 on high E. And then 15, 14 and 15 on the high E, just before the solo. So once again, the first guitar. And the second guitar plays 9th fret G string 8 7 8 on the B, and then 15 14 15 on the B string. It sounds together like this. For the next part, we have guitar number 1 doing a descent that goes in parallel with the second guitar, and it has these notes. We start from the full step bend on the 10th fret, and then we use pairs of notes: 10 10 on high E and B, 9 8 high E and B, 7 7 high E and B, 10 9 B and G strings, 8th fret on the B, and 9th fret on the D string. And then we have 7th fret on the G and 7th fret on the D string. So together they sound like this: 10 10, 9 8, 7 7, 10 9. So in the end we have that 7th fret on the G string, and then we use slide from 7 to 5 on the D. 4 5 7. So 7 5 4 5 7. The whole first part sounds like this. And then in the second part we have simple lick that involves 7th fret of the G, and then 7th fret of the high E, and 7th fret of the B. So, and then 12 and 10 on the high E. So, in the end we have full step bend and release and 11th fret of the G string. So. If you connect those two together, you will get something like this. As for the lead-in into the outro part of the song, we have a couple of notes, and this is the whole melody on the first guitar. So what we do here is just 11 and 12 on the G, and then 12 on the G, and then 10, 12, 11 on the B. So once again, 11, 12, 12, 11, and then 14, 15, 17. Hold together. In the outro part on the first guitar, we have two first voicings. So top treble strings, and we are playing 14, 15, 16 on high E, B and G strings. So 14, 15 and 16. And then 12 high E, 14 B and 15 G. And full step bend on the 16th fret, and full step bend on the 16th fret. So hold together. Next pair of voicings is 12, 14, 14. So 12, 14, 14. and then 10, 12, 13, and full step bend on 14th fret. So next two voicings on the first guitar, 10, 12, 12, and 10, 10, 11, and the full step bend on 12th fret. So last two voicings in line, 7, 8, 9, and 9, 11, 11, and the full step bend on 12th fret. So these two sound together like this. And then the whole part repeat after and after.